Good morning. Good morning, my friends. Excuse me. Good morning to this Friday's version of Free Coaching Friday. Every week I get together with folks online here at this very place. You can find the link to this broadcast on either of my Facebook pages. So if you Google my name or if you Google my name in Facebook, if you search my name in Facebook, Robin Ann Reed, you'll always be able to find this. This morning, we are going to discuss what to do when the world seems crazy and it's making you crazier. And I want to thank anybody who's joining us today. Hi, Stephanie. Good morning to you, my beautiful friend. I'd love to hear any comments. I'd love to hear your stories. I'd love to hear your questions. I'd love to hear your opinions about any and all of this and welcome it. Just type into the chat, into the chat box, the comment box, and I will answer as best I can. So I know that a lot of people were fairly upset by what happened in this week's election in the United States. There were some flips of seats, all up and down the political spectrum, and there were people who were fairly unhappy with some of the things that happened, and then there were people who were very happy with what happened. It was all over the map, as it usually is in each election. But this election in particular felt very crucial because many people feel like we are experiencing a curtailment of our freedoms. Like we have people in power who have very, very conservative views about how one should live their lives, and that they think it is pertinent that everyone live their life that way. They don't think that anyone else should live their life differently than they themselves believe is appropriate. And that goes for personal choices such as abortion and medical care, religion, where we school our children, et cetera, et cetera. So it's been pretty tumultuous. And I wanted to talk especially about what to do when we have anxiety and upset, fear, anger, all of those big, hard emotions, and how to handle those, how to consider the world, and how to handle those emotions around what's happening in the world. So the first thing is, I really want to hold on. Just let me listen a minute here. My guy just saying something to me. They'd like me to start slightly differently. They want me to acknowledge that there are people who really do have high levels of anxiety, high levels of depression, high levels of maybe mental instability, and don't know how to manage that. We are not necessarily addressing ways for those folks to feel better. And if you are, or if you know someone who falls in those categories, a lot of the things that I'm talking about here are not strong enough to help those people feel better. If anyone does have deep depression, if anyone does have extremely high anxiety and you just can't manage it, you can't control it, you need help of an expert directly one-on-one. First place to go is to talk with your doctor or your pastor about what's going on with you and get some help so that you can find some peace or begin to find some peace and begin to find a way of feeling better in the world. So with that said, for people who don't have heightened difficulties with keeping themselves feeling safe and being able to function in a normal life, these are the people that I'm really speaking to today. And I think that really is most of you who come here. We experience suffering when we want things to be different than they are. Now, there are lots of different definitions of what suffering is or descriptions of what suffering feels like, but it really all boils down to one thing. When we are stressed by what's going on in the world or in our lives, it's because we want things to be different, or we think that things should be different than they are. So let that sink in a little bit. And you might be resisting that feeling. Oh, no, that's not really true. I'm suffering because of X. I'm suffering because of Y. But when you think about it and go deeply into your feelings about the issue or your feelings about the people, it really is that you think something should be different than what it is right in front of you. The only place we have power, the only place we can truly make changes right now is with ourselves. And when we have high anxiety about what's going on in the world, and we say somebody should do something about that, or I should do something about that, how can I help? How can I change things? The very first place that we start is with ourselves. So that's what I want to focus on and concentrate on today. How do you do that? How do you do that when you can't stop thinking or can't stop focusing on what's wrong out there? So unless you've got a hurricane coming in about 2 miles from your home, or a tiger is running after you, you can sit and be with what is going on. If you have an immediate physical stressor, an immediate physical challenge, you need to take care of that right away. Everything else is manageable, even though it may feel like it's not manageable. And so how do you start with something that is upsetting you so much? How do you start when you have constant anxiety and even find yourself waking up at night, worrying about the political situation, worrying about our rights being taken away, worrying about finances, worrying about your children's future, worrying about your own future? How do you stop that? The very first thing, the Dalai Lama says this: when the world seems like it's going crazy, the very first thing that you do is pause. And so you literally just take a breath. When you realize that you are feeling crazy, when you realize that you're feeling out of control, when you feel like you have no way to change circumstances, even in your own life or in the world, the first thing that you do is pause and take a breath. Because it's from this place that you then take the next step. Now I'm going to talk a little philosophy here. At this time in history, every single one of us who is here on the earth decided to come here. In the spiritual realm, we all decided to come here. And we felt honored and excited to be here during these times. You know the old Chinese proverb, may you live in interesting times. Well, when we're not in a body and we're in the spiritual realms, that seems like a really exciting thing to do. So the very first thing we have to realize is that at a level that we're not necessarily conscious of on an ongoing basis, we made a decision to be here because we wanted to be part of the shift, the expansion, the incredible expansion and changes that are going on right now in humanity, not just in the United States, but in humanity itself and even in the universe. But let's focus on humanity here. So when we're upset, when we see that there's something going on that really is causing us difficulty, we take that pause and we let ourselves be right here, right where we are, and be with the difficulty and see if you can disentangle yourself. Literally, if you're sitting right here being upset, can you step to the side energetically? Can you step to the side mentally so that you can literally step away from that high tension, step away from the stress, step away from the fear, step away from the anger? Can you step to the side? And when you can do that, continue breathing and just be present with yourself. and being present with yourself. Continue to breathe and watch your breath. Notice your breath going in and out of your body. If you're sitting down or lying down, see if you can feel your body in connection with the surface that you're on. Feel your hips on the seat. Feel your back against the cushions or against the back of your chair. Or if you're lying down on that surface, feel your back and the backs of your legs on that surface. If you're sitting, see if you can feel the pressure of your feet in connection with the floor. And continue to breathe. You might at this point do a body scan starting at the top of your head and notice what your body feels like. What does your scalp feel like? What do the muscles in your face feel like? Are they tense? Are they relaxed? Are they tight? How are you holding your mouth? Are you holding your mouth very tightly? Or are your lips relaxed? Open your mouth so that you can really tell the difference. Notice the back of your neck. Notice how your shoulders feel. Are you hunched forward? Are your shoulders up by your ears? If so, roll your shoulders back. Just really gently let them relax. You might even do that a couple times and breathe. Just breathe. And feel your throat. Is your throat tight? Is it scratchy? Does it feel relaxed? Can you feel your throat at all? And then bring your attention down to the other parts of your body. And as you feel your chest, your upper arms, are you relaxed or are you tight? And as you're breathing gently while you do this exercise, bring your breath to those places that are tight, that are hard, that are stiff. See if you can breathe into those spaces a little more ease. See if you can breathe into those spaces a little more space. And then continue down your body till you get to your feet. And again, feel your feet in connection with the floor. This is a very, very simple mindful exercise. And when you're all spun up and you don't know what to do and you're really stressed, this is an exercise that almost always is available to you. You don't have to go through a complicated meditation process. And if you can do nothing else, at least notice your breath and feel your feet in connection with the floor. Take a few breaths and let yourself be present with your feet in connection with the floor. From this place, you have some more power. From this place, you can really pay attention to what's going on around you in the world. So with that exercise to the side, and if anybody has questions about this exercise, please be in touch with me. Private message me, and I'd be happy to help you with any aspect of it that's difficult, or if you aren't able to do it at all, also let me know that. Stephanie, if you have anything that you'd like to add for a really easy, fast mindfulness technique, please feel free to offer that. Or if there's anybody else here who has something to offer, I'd love to hear it. So secondly, let's talk about how to work on a longer term basis. What do you do when there are things in the world that make you crazy? Whether it's your kids or your partner or finances or whoever got into the office that you wanted your candidate to be occupying at this time. Let's see, I've got a couple other things here. A lot of people have been shaken up by the hurricanes that have come through this year. They've been unusual. They've been extremely powerful. We've had other weather issues. We've had extreme drought in the West. People are really, really worried about this. and it does actually keep people up at nights. Stephanie says the energy is moving so fast. This is in general. She's had chaotic sleep schedules and is being asked to move on your healing very quickly. The tools that she relies on are breathing. She uses smudging to clear her space. She creates sacred space. And the most important for her is being still and present. Those are all really good tools to use to help you cope with the issues that upset you, the things that you see going on in the world or that are happening in your own life that really upset you. Hi, Kate. Glad you're here. Thanks for your comment. So I want to talk about another technique that I use with all of my clients, and I almost always teach it in my classes. If there's anything about this technique you don't understand after I go through it, please private message me. But this is a real humdinger for getting you in touch with why you are so upset by a particular issue in the world or in your life, and what to do about that. So what you do is, first of all, look at the issue that upsets you. Stephanie or Kate, would you like to offer something? What really upsets you? And if you don't have anything to offer, I've got a couple examples. But it would be really fun to take an example that you offer. Sisters. Okay. What bothers you, Kate? What upsets you the most about sisters? Can you distill it down? Sisters being mean. Great. And Stephanie says the school system is a trigger for her. Let's start with Kate. So we'll go through this. We'll take, maybe 10 minutes. Excuse me, 10 minutes or so to go through this. So the very first thing that you do is you make a statement. Kate, this is good. This is getting even deeper. Kate suggested her sister's letting her down. So the very first thing that you do is you take the upset and you turn it into a statement. What upsets me, or what makes me angry, or what makes me sad is my sister's letting me down. And then I ask my students, my clients, to distill that and make it even more simple. What upsets me, what hurts me, is when people let me down. Kate, is that in line with your suggestion? She may not be able to answer, so we're just going to go forward. So what you do is you take that statement. What upsets me, what makes me angry, is people letting me down. And then you take that statement, and because the world out there is a reflection of what's going on in here, we take that statement that we're experiencing out in the world. Kate said, yes, mostly sisters letting her down. So people close to me letting me down. What's disturbing to me, upsetting, makes me angry, makes me sad, is people close to me letting me down. So you take that statement and you turn it around. There is some place inside of you that is hiding another kind of letdown. So there are 3 areas that we work on. Number 1, you are letting other people down, possibly, and you're not aware of it, or you're not letting yourself know the truth of that. Excuse me, I'm going to change the lighting here. I'm going to drop my curtain because it's a little bit too bright. So you might be letting someone down in the world. You might be putting up with someone letting you down and not speaking about it, not standing up for yourself, which is very close to the third one. Where are you letting yourself down? And you're not aware of it, or you're ignoring it and not taking care of it. And because you're not, because you are doing it to someone else and not stopping that behavior, not healing that behavior, You're allowing someone to do that to you, and you are not speaking up about it, not taking care of yourself about it, or you are doing that to yourself and letting it be okay. You're letting yourself off the hook because it's in one of those three areas. And because you're not dealing with it yourself, you're seeing it out in the world. You're experiencing it out in your world. Kate is experiencing it with her sisters. And so Kate says, yes, I'm letting myself down by dimming my light. Kate, on a scale of 1 to 10, how big an issue is that for you, truly? So Kate just said she's dimming her own light so her sisters will shine. That issue on a scale of 1 to 10 is a 10 for Kate. And so, Kate, my suggestion when this sort of thing comes up is to suggest that you get really, really honest with yourself about how you have been ignoring dimming your own light and looking at all the places in your life that you are dimming your light. Do you know why you're holding back, Kate? Do you have an inkling? Do you have any insight into why you might be dimming your light? Kate says she becomes a child with her sisters. So do you have any insight into why you hold back and why you make yourself small? Kate said her parents loved her most. So here's the place where we can go really deep, and here's the place where it gets a little rocky for people, because you really have to be honest with yourself. Do you have a hidden belief that your parents only loved you when you were small, if you kept yourself small? Yes. So this was a story that you had when you were much younger. Yes. Kate said, yes, her mother loved her when she kept herself small, not so much her dad. So, Kate, do you see that this is a story that you created when you were much, much younger? Still living at home, but even at a very young age. And you've carried that story forward. And my guess is it may very well have colored other aspects of your life. If you kept yourself small so that your sisters could shine, if you kept yourself tiny so your sisters could shine, because your mother would love you when you were smaller, so you'd get her love, and so your sisters could also shine. Can you see where this has possibly impacted you in work situations or social situations, with friendships, even in extended family as you've been an adult? Yeah. Can everybody see that connection? So when we have an experience when we're really young, and we know when we're really young that we have to be a certain way so we can be approved of, we can be loved, and in some cases where we can avoid discomfort, avoid loneliness, and we make ourselves a certain way. And Kate made herself small so that her mother would love her that way. And if Kate were here, we could talk about this. She may very well have had experiences where her mother disapproved of her when she got bigger, when Kate expressed her maybe strong opinions or when she became more powerful and stepped into her own personal power. And she probably got lots more attention and approval from her mom when she kept herself small and easy to be with, non-confrontational. So that's what Kate decided when she was a child. And yet, because this came up today, my guess is, Kate, that this has been coming to the forefront for you for a while. And we're also going into the holidays. I don't know if you're going to be spending time with your family, with your sisters at all. But even when we're going into the holidays and not spending time with our families, old family issues come up. They get triggered just because the holidays are coming. Thanksgiving is a holiday almost most of the United States celebrates, regardless of your religious affiliation. Not everyone celebrates Christmas or Hanukkah or some of the other holidays at the end of the year, but almost everyone does celebrate Thanksgiving. Yes, Kate says, so this is happening over and over and you're avoiding them, but you're carrying the pain. So Kate, can you identify what that pain is? Can you tell us what that pain is? Simplify it. Kate, I really appreciate you doing this work of not being accepted. That and most of you here on the call and most of you listening to the recording probably guessed that. Power struggle. Kate is talking about the fear of power struggle and maybe actual power struggles among sisters. Who's better? Who's more important? Who's prettier sometimes? I had that with my sister. Who is prettier? I always gave it up for my sister because she was gorgeous. And it was part of my issue. And we all have issues like that with our siblings and those closest to us as we're growing up. So Kate's issues of fear of not being accepted and pain of not being accepted and pain of the power struggle. So when we're doing this process and we can identify where we are, hold on, let me go back and let me just go through the process with you. We look at what's happening to us from what we're upset with out in the world. Kate was really upset with her sisters and with her sisters letting her down. And then I stated that we take that statement, someone close to me lets me down. That makes me very upset when someone close to me lets me down. Then we take that basic statement and use it in one of three ways. Either we are doing that to someone else. We're letting someone else down. Or number two, we are allowing someone to let us down and we are not healing that wound that's happening. Someone is stepping over our boundaries and we are not saying no. We are not taking good care of ourselves around that. Or number three, we are doing that very thing to ourselves. And Kate says that she found that she's really been dimming her own light so her sisters would shine and so her mother would love her. And so the way that we deal with this now is we take that issue and the beliefs that you have around it, that Kate has the belief that she has to make herself small so she'll be approved of, and so her sisters can shine. And we step into that and we be the adult in regards to that issue. Because the part of us that's afraid of not being accepted, the part of us that that feels like only when we're small are we accepted, is the child in us. It's not the adult. And when we have those feelings of fear of not being accepted in a situation like this, it's almost always the child in us that's coming up. And so how do we deal with that? First of all, we have to accept ourselves. That's the very first thing. And it seems so basic. Well, how do we do that? You literally start accepting yourself for who you are. In a post, I think a couple weeks ago, I talked about my hair. I talked about my sister, being born with a sister who was stunningly gorgeous. She had gorgeous long blonde hair, and I had brown hair. And my hair was fairly thin. As you can see, I don't have big, thick hair. And I never thought that my hair was pretty. I never thought that I was pretty. And my sister was gorgeous, and she got all the compliments. And so I made myself very, very smart. And I knew that I wasn't pretty. And yet, when this came up for me later in my life, I was really in my 40s, and I really had to face this. My sister had gone back to college, and she had gotten a nursing degree, an advanced degree. And I realized, oh, wait, the smart sister is my station in the family. How dare you usurp my station? I'm the only sister that can be smart. You're the pretty sister. I really had to face all of my issues around that. I had to face the fact that I kept myself out of I never used makeup. I kept myself out of any glamour. I did not, I even was very conservative in how I dressed because I was not attractive, and I didn't belong in that part of the world. And then I had to face it. When my hair started turning silver, I really had to face it. I was not proud of myself. And I had to find a way to come into comfort with my body in order to do this kind of work that I'm doing. And this was very early on in my coaching career. And so I understand how this is. Not only do I coach people, not only have I been trained to help people do this, but I've gone through this in many, many aspects of myself. We literally have to accept ourselves. And there is a very simple and oft used, oft recommended exercise of looking at yourself in a mirror and telling yourself you love yourself. Telling yourself, I love you. I'm not asking you to take your clothes off, but I'm asking you to just spend time every day looking in the mirror, if you can do it for 15 seconds to start, and say, I love you. And then watch all of your emotions come up. Watch your fears come up. Watch your rage come up. Watch your embarrassment and shame come up. And let that be okay. Stephanie says she has to drop off shortly. She's going to come back. Stephanie, great. I will come back to your question in a minute here. Thank you, and hope you can come back later. So Kate, the very first thing is you have to accept yourself. That's really the basic thing. And it seems so simple, and yet it seems so impossible. How do I accept myself? Or you might be saying, well, of course I accept myself. But if you're still having the experience of making yourself small around your sisters because you are afraid of being rejected, you have not dealt with your own self-rejection. And almost all of us who are on here right now or who are going to be listening to the recording know that when we are very, very tiny, being rejected or not responded to is so painful. We make that about ourselves. And we turn ourselves into pretzels trying to figure out how to get attention, even how to get our needs met. And we decide really early that we are not okay. Or as Kate did, I have to keep myself very small to be approved of, to get love. And I have to keep myself very small around my sisters so that I don't get rejected by them. So the very first thing, as I said, that we do, Kate said she's given up on the relationship. It's too triggering. I totally understand. And sometimes we have to let go of those relationships. We think we're letting go of them forever. But as we're faced with this work, if there really is a time right now that you're getting faced with this and you're getting triggered, You're probably having this come up in other areas of your life because at a soul level, your spirit is saying, honey, we got to handle this. It's part of what you came here for. This is an issue for you to heal, and only you can heal this. So if your sisters are too triggering, we'll give you people a little bit further away in your life. We'll give you your neighbor. We'll give you your doctor. We'll give you all of these people at work who do the same kind of thing that your sisters do. You have a feeling of rejection or not being accepted by them, or you don't feel like you are their equal, or you're afraid of their judgment or something like that. This is going to come forward for you so that you can heal it. And as we face these issues in our lives, wherever they're showing up, and we heal those issues step by step by step by being gentle with ourselves, by really working to accept ourselves, and not just doing it once and then we're done accepting ourselves. No, this is an ongoing basis. Every single human has this. Every single human alive on earth right now has an issue about their own worthiness. And we really are here because it is time that we heal this within the human condition. And so we're all being faced with this. And we do that work gently and progressively, little by little, and we challenge ourselves. We don't come back to the comfort place. We challenge ourselves on a regular basis. And the universe is going to challenge us. The universe is going to throw issues at us that we have to deal with, that when we get down to the bottom of what is this and why am I faced with this issue right now, it comes down to worthiness and making ourselves small when we're really being called to be bigger, when we're called to step into our own light, to step into our own power. Humanity needs each of us to be who we came here to be. And in order to do that, we have to heal the patterns that we brought in with us to heal, not because they're our own, but before we were incarnated, we agreed to bring patterns in to help heal that, because those patterns are here. It's a matrix. Each of these patterns is a matrix throughout humanity. And each time we do the healing and the strengthening of our own patterns, we change the energy of that pattern for everybody else in humanity, everybody else who is here, and for everybody else who will come here. Kate, yeah, I'm sick of them all not hearing me. Sweetie, the thing to do is to hear yourself. It's really hard when we've created people around us who give us the experience of not recognizing us, not hearing us, not responding to us, not acknowledging us. Absolutely. Yeah, Kate says the universe is kicking her ass. Yep, I hear you. I hear you. I have been here. And those of us who are coaches quite often are born into families who don't accept us, don't understand us, don't really get who we are, can't see us, want us to be different because they're challenged by our very presence. And we think it's about us. We take it on as that there's something wrong with us. We were born into those families because we have the power and the strength to go through to handle those programs, to change all of that spider web of the issues that we brought forward to us. We can heal all that wounding, not only for us, but for humanity. And it's really our work. And it's damn hard and ugly. And it's not fun. It's why we find each other, so we can support each other in doing that work. Kate, I didn't go totally all the way through with you. Is there anything else that you'd like to know yourself about this issue? Did you get some suggestions that might work for you to go forward with this? And then we'll go on to Stephanie's. Great. Kate, if you want to private message me. If you want to go any further on this, private message me. Thank you so much for being willing to put forward a very personal issue. Listen, I don't know if you noticed, but my throat had all sorts of scratchiness while we were talking about this. And I'm not surprised, because part of it is expressing yourself in a way with your sisters that you really haven't allowed yourself to do, so that you could stay safe. So during this next holiday season, I encourage you to express yourself with everyone, and to be bold and to take some risks, and have fun with that. Have fun with it all the way. Thank you for letting yourself be vulnerable here for us today. Take a little drink of tea here to clear that out of my throat. Quite often when I'm working with people, if they have expression issues, I have stuff come up in my throat closes up. Sometimes I start coughing. If they have power issues, quite often I get a feeling of acid reflux, or my stomach hurts, or I have burping. And anybody who's a coach who works with people, you probably have this too. If you've wondered why all of a sudden you're feeling like you have to burp when you're working with a client, almost always it's in response to their power issues, because we as coaches almost always have the same patterns that our clients come to us with. And so when our clients come to us, we are so sensitive to their issues, because they are our own issues that we have done a considerable amount of healing on, so that we can be present to our clients. Hi, Barb. Glad you're here. I'm going to go back to Stephanie's dilemma. She said that she was really bothered by the school system. Yeah, the school system is a trigger for her. And so she said, what makes her sad, so we're dealing with sadness here, is the inability of the structure of the school system to provide experiential learning and allow those who are beautifully gifted to learn in their best way. And she recognizes that she doesn't spend enough time with her son to offer him experiential learning. And that's why she's working on that. So let me come in here. Just let me tune into this a little bit. I know Stephanie a bit. I've spent time, beautiful, wonderful time, getting to know each other in a program that we were in together. So Stephanie, what you say is, you're sad about the inability of an institution to create the maximum experience for those that it is supposed to serve. I need to write this down. So what she's saying is, what makes her sad is that the institution that she's involved with, meaning the school system for her son, is not creating a maximum experience or maximum opportunity for her son. And this is the very thing that institution is serving. And she says that she recognizes that she doesn't spend enough time with her son to offer him the experiential learning that she would like to provide for him. First of all, I do want to make a comment about kids. Hold on a moment. I have a hunch we might go over a little bit today. We're going to go over the top of the hour. Our children come to us as parents. We as parents make ourselves available for kids. We say, basically, I'm ready. And our children choose us. We really don't choose them. They choose us. And they come into us. And they choose us because being with us serves all of us. Them being with us in a family situation serves all of us. They bring their patterns, they bring their past, they bring their hopes and dreams for the future, all of which are really started before they embody, before they are conceived, and they bring all of it. And then they draw upon our patterns, they draw upon our energy to create their body, and then we're off as a family for the rest of our lives. And whether we stay with that birth parent, those birth parents or not, we are energetically impacted by those who conceive us, both mom and dad. So with that said, coming back to Stephanie's issue about feeling sad that this institution that is supposed to serve her son with his special gifts is not serving him. So what I would suggest is that Stephanie simplify that statement even further. The system that I'm counting on to provide what it is promising is not providing. And I'd ask her to turn that back on herself for herself. And that would sound like this: I'm not providing myself the opportunities and the experiences that really will give me what I am promised. Now I'm sort of feeling my way through this. In other words, Stephanie came in with some really big agendas. She's a beautiful coach. She's a wonderful, deeply heart-centered Reiki master, teacher, and a coach. And she came in with the intention to do really big work in the world. Stephanie, I don't know if you're here. I'm going to look to see if you've come back. Nope, Stephanie's not here, so she can't answer this. So she's working on creating experiential experiences for her son. And my question to her would be, are you creating the same sort of experiential learning experiences for yourself? Are you giving yourself the room to grow? Are you taking the opportunity to grow? Are you taking the possibilities? Are you letting yourself dream really big? Are you letting yourself dream as big as the energy that you are? When you see in the world an experience for yourself or someone else where something is not being fulfilled and it upsets you, it makes you sad, makes you angry, or just upsets you, triggers you, look to see where you yourself are not giving yourself the freedom and the opportunities to take advantage of what there is available to you that really would fulfill your heart. And to take this back to what Kate was talking about, where do you make yourself small rather than step into the powerful experiences that might be uncomfortable, that might be a little bit clumsy, where you might feel a little bit clumsy? Where are you not letting yourself go forward with an attitude of, hold on a sec, let me just listen. Where are you not letting yourself go forward with beginner's mind, willing to stumble, willing to fall a couple times so you can really learn about the experience? Where are you being very careful to look good? Where are you being very careful to not get too out there on the skinny branches? Where are you, I'm listening to guidance here. Where are you not taking the risks that would bring incredible reward? And I think that I'm getting that this really is pertinent for all of us who are here on the call today. All of us have a tendency to play a little bit smaller than we really should. All of us have a tendency to be really careful, really a little bit more careful. I encourage everybody here to get in and make it messy, to get in, take the finger paints out and make a mess, make a beautiful mess, and then let that dry and see what it looks like when you come back. Take some risks with things in areas that you've never, ever stepped into before. Read literature that you've never, ever read before. I started reading Republican literature this year. I'm a staunch Democrat. Forgive me if that's not your cup of tea, but I realized that I wanted to, I I'd been too careful. I'd stuck too close to my own boundaries, and I needed to really take a look at what was happening outside my own boundaries. So I started reading different literature. Started reading radically conservative literature this year, and I learned a lot. And I won't go into that here, but it's one of the ways that I really stepped way outside my boundaries and did something that I've never done before. I have a tendency to take a lot of risks socially, and so that's not such a big issue. I'm not afraid to talk about anything with anybody, but there are areas that even I stay a little small. Coming back to Stephanie's, I would also, hold on. I would also ask Stephanie, where is she sacrificing her own need for rewarding experience so that her son can have rewarding experience? Where is she sacrificing herself? Because there really is a line. We can offer so much to our children, but then there's a line where we're really sacrificing our own well-being, and we can fine-tune ourselves to pretty close. Well, I'll stay up another hour to do this. I'll spend a little more money than I was budgeting. I'll take a little bit more time on this, when really we need to clarify our boundaries around what we give to our children, and our own boundaries about what we sacrifice for our children, what we give up so that our children can have what we think they should have, what we want them to have. There's something else in here. Hold on. Our children came into us. Our children decided, and they decided, knowing on a spiritual level what they were going to have to cope with when they got here. People have asked about the children who are in school during COVID. And from a spiritual level, every single child who was in school, who's of school age, of any particular school age, during COVID, came here knowing at a spiritual level that this would be something that they would have to cope with. And we as parents, we as adults lamented that our kids didn't get the opportunities that they should have had. They didn't get the assistance that they should have had. They didn't get the learning experiences that they should have had. Some children thrived during COVID because being out of a classroom experience really was better for them, and they were able to do well with online learning. Many children were not. However, all of those kids were here to be in school at this time because those experiences are giving them the background and the information and the hold on, let me just listen here. And the preparation that they need for what they came in to do. And going through the school system was part of what they came in to do, because our school system also, the United States way of educating is crumbling. All of the rules that we've had and the way that we have set up learning, primarily set up learning, are crumbling away. All of the old restrictions are really coming into question. And parents, teachers, educators are looking at, how can we do this better? How can we do this and really serve our kids? And it really is the same kind of question that Stephanie is asking. It's what she feels sad about, that the school system has not been able to provide her son with the experiential learning that she thinks that he needs. Her son is here as part of a change maker movement within the school system, and his literal presence in the school system is partly driving the change. There are more layers of needs that are being met now than ever before in the school system. It still is not perfect. It's far from perfect, but it is in flux and it is changing. I'm being prompted to talk a little bit about kids who have ADD, kids who are dyslexic. kids who have other kind of attention issues, children who are students who are not uh, um, neurotypical. All of these kids who come in with slightly different abilities or with abilities that are not what we would call the norm or typical of a school-age child, they are coming in as forerunners of humanity in the future, because humanity in the future is going to be able to think in several different directions at once and to multitask in ways that those of us who were born 40 and 50 years ago cannot. We are moving into a highly, a more highly, hold on, they want me to say this slightly differently. Humanity is moving towards a more highly layered, multi-layered individual, and able to, in consciousness, be in multiple places at one time, and that's what my guides are showing me. And what it looks like out here is able to do several things at once. Those of you who if you yourself do online gaming, or if you have someone in your family who does online gaming, you're probably amazed at the speed at which people can see and respond while you're doing gaming. The eye-hand coordination and ability to recognize and respond to patterns has skyrocketed since gaming came into being. Technical, like computer gaming, came into being, and it's pretty amazing if you go look at the statistics of this kind of ability. We are almost at the top of the hour here. I want to make sure that we got everybody's questions answered. Fran says, thank you for the discussion on being small. I really get that being small is an issue for almost everybody on the call here today, and those people who are going to be listening to this recording afterwards. If anyone has any questions about how to cope with that, how to deal with it, how to deal with the frustration and the fear of stepping into a bigger space, taking up more room in the world, or dealing with your rage at being kept small, let me know. I'd love to help you with that. It's one of the things that almost everybody who comes to me runs into at one time or another, because we are all called to be big in this lifetime. There is no staying small. And if we've made ourselves small to make our families happy or to feel comfortable, now is the time we are all being challenged, and we can no longer stay small. The universe is almost slapping us each in the face. Come on, wake up. I need you, is what the universe is saying to all of us. So my love to each of you. Thank you for being here today. Thank you for the questions. Thank you for the answers. If there are any subjects you would love to hear me talk about and come back and interact about, let me know. Send me a private message, and I'll get back to you, and we'll put that on the schedule. Thanks again, folks. Blessings to all of you. Thank you so much for showing up today and being big. Bye-bye.